Welcome back to another LSW Top 10, and hello to all you 90s kids out there. Let us take a trip down nostalgia lane as we look back on some of the most forgotten shows of the 90s and early 2000s. This list makes clear that unfortunately, not every show can be a pop culture phenomenon like Power Rangers or Pokemon. So let's get into it. The top 10 forgotten kids shows of the 90s and early 2000s. First up, we have Biker Mice from Mars. Hitting screens, in September 1993, Biker Mice from Mars would tell the story of three anthropomorphic mice, Throttle, Moto, and Vinny, who have come to Earth as the last of their kind as their species were annihilated by the evil Plutarchians. With legendary comic book writer Stan Lee as one of the producers, Biker Mice from Mars would see strong success over its 3 seasons. A 28-episode revival would arrive in 2006 featuring voice acting from Clancy Brown. As recently as July 2023, a new series has been announced to be in production from none other than Ryan Reynolds. First tokusatsu series on this list, imported by Saban Big Bad Beetleborgs, would follow Drew, Joe, and Roland, who after being dared to enter the haunted Hillhurst mansion, are granted one wish during their attempts to escape from the monster inhabitants. They choose to be transformed into their favorite comic book heroes, the Big Bad Beetleborgs. This, however, also brings about the Beetleborgs' enemies to life as well. The show was far more jovial and comedic than some of the other tokusatsu imports. The show would run from 1996 to 1998, with 88 episodes across 2 seasons. In at number 8 is Totally Spies, spanning 6 seasons of 156 episodes. Totally Spies merged anime with Spy-Fi. First reaching screens in November 2001, the show was an attempt to bring in the female demographic to the ever-growing popularity of the spy genre. The show revolves around the 3 main characters, Sam, Alex, and Clover, in their attempts to live double lives as secret agents in Beverly Hills. Much like James Bond, the girls are equipped with gadgets to help in their efforts to stop the villains, although not always quite as high-tech as 007 himself. The show was incredibly popular in France, even spawning a movie, although it would fail to recoup its budget at the box office. Up next is the seldom-remembered Dinosaurs. Debuting in July 2000, Dinosaurs would consist of a 26-episode series. The show would follow the Dino Knights and their battle to protect Earth from the evil Dragosaurs, an alien race who originated from space, who came to Earth in an attempt to absorb the entire planet's life force. The show would marry the boom in dinosaur popularity in the years following Jurassic Park, with Transformers resulting in, well, transforming dinosaurs. Due to the limited run of the series, toys from the show can now fetch high prices on the aftermarket. The show would be canceled the same year it debuted. In at the halfway point is Angela Anaconda. Originally starting as a series of shorts on the Nickelodeon show Kablam, Angela Anaconda would be extended into its own full series in 1999. The show would follow the antics of Angela Anaconda as she traversed life through the town of Tapwater Springs. Recognized most for its distinctive use of cutout animation, the show would last 3 seasons with an episode count of 65. The show would frequently depict Angela daydreaming about taking revenge on her main rivals Nanette Manoir and Mrs. Brinks in more and more outlandish ways. A small clip would even kick off the Digimon movie in 2000, seeing Angela imagining herself digivolving to Angelamon to defeat her enemies. The latest in a growing line of anime adaptations for American audiences, Metabots would first air in September 2001 on Fox Kids. The show followed the character Icky in his attempts to be crowned champion in the World Robattle Championships with his Metabot Metabee, doing so by battling other contestants and their own personal Metabots. Unsurprisingly, some fans have considered the show to be the robot Pokemon due to the nature of the plot. The show would spawn a toy line and a plethora of video games, with the original series lasting 52 episodes over 2 seasons. Next on the list is VR Troopers. Hot on the tails of the cultural phenomenon that was Power Rangers, Saban attempted to double down on their success by bringing over another tokusatsu IP to Western audiences with VR Troopers. The plot saw three martial artists, Ryan, Caitlin, and JB, battle mutants from the VR dimension who were intent on taking over both worlds. The original working title of the show was Cybertron and featured Jason David Frank in the pilot, who would go on to be the most legendary Ranger of all time. Debuting a year after Power Rangers, VR Troopers would ultimately last 92 episodes spread over 2 seasons. Whilst the show reached high levels of popularity, a lack of stock footage resulted in the show's eventual cancellation. Taking third spot is Shadow Raiders. Based on the War Planet's toy line, Shadow Raiders would be produced by Mainframe Entertainment, the company behind 2 of the very first full CGI shows, Reboot and Beast Wars, Transformers. The show would tell the story of the Cluster, who were 4 constantly warring planets who were left with no choice but to put aside their rivalries to join forces against an even greater threat, the Beast Planet. The show would span 2 13-episode seasons across its lifetime. The show was canceled before the proposed 3rd season could be developed, which would have seen the series reach 40 episodes in total. Despite strong viewing figures, the show was ultimately canceled due to poor toy sales. Runner-up, although almost being the most forgotten show is certainly nothing to celebrate, is Lloyd in Space. With their hit show close to its end, the creators of Recess set out to replicate their success by launching a new series, Lloyd in Space, in February 2001. Set mainly on the space station Intrepidville, the cartoon would follow the adventures of Lloyd Nebulon and his 3 friends, Eddie, Kurt, and Douglas, as they go through the challenges of growing up and trying to fit in with their peers. From battles with the school bully Rodney, to putting up with his annoying sister Francine, to ensuring he kept up with his schoolwork in Mrs. Bolt's class, there was always something for Lloyd and his friends to be dealing with. The show would run for 4 seasons consisting of 39 episodes in total. However, it could never replicate the success of its predecessor, that was Recess. And our most forgotten show is Masked Rider. With the explosion of popularity seen by Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Saban were keen to go back to the tokusatsu well once again with Masked Rider. The story followed Prince Dex from the planet Edenoi, who travels to Earth in order to protect the planet from his evil uncle Count Dragon and his army of insectivores, whilst also attempting to adjust to Earth's customs. Debuting on Fox Kids in September 1995, Masked Rider, just like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, would use stock footage from its original Japanese counterpart, mainly Kamen Rider Black RX, usually for the battle scenes, whilst utilizing American actors for the non-fight scenes. Before the full show's debut, Saban attempted to piggyback off the success of Power Rangers by introducing the character in the 3-part episode A Friend in Need. The show would ultimately be canceled after 40 episodes over 2 seasons, due to toy sales being far lower than Bandai had expected. And there you have it, 90s Kids. Our top 10 forgotten kids shows from the 90s and early 2000s that have been confined to the annals of TV history. How many of these shows do you remember? Are there shows that you feel are even more forgotten than these, that should have made the list? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more LSW Top 10s and even more trips down nostalgia lane. See you in the next one.